Hello, my name is Al Graham, and you're with People Advocating Cannabis Education. PACE is about promoting the benefits of cannabis, and we do this through educational documentaries and public education. Today we are at the Studio Cafe in downtown Belleville, and I'd like to introduce you to a cannabis advocate who will talk to us about how he is helping the world legalize cannabis. I'd like to introduce to you Casper Leitch. Hello,
Hello.
Casper.
Thank you for taking time for hemp. I appreciate it.
Hey, always. No problem. Okay. In order to get started here, Casper, can you tell us a bit about yourself, such as maybe some hobbies, if you got any special education, or whereabouts you're located?
I was told that I do belong in special education, but I'm not sure how people meant that. My hobbies are dog care, animal rescue. That's why I've got another little radio show called Time for Pets. And on that, we feature hardworking activists who are trying to make the world a better place for little creatures who don't have homes and need homes or need medicine and medical care that they can't get because they're just forgotten animals. And we're also trying to help educate people as to better ways to love and care for their pets. So, yeah, being involved with animal rescue is my primary hobby.
It is, eh? Interesting. I actually caught part of Casper's show, The Time for Pets, there the other day.
Thank you.
Heard some interesting stuff. We'll get to more of that in a minute. So whereabouts you're located in the U.S.?
I'm in Portland, Oregon, and they call it Potland as a slang term.
We just finished watching a movie that had an interview with a lady from Portland, Oregon. At a lounge is what she was at.
The famous Cannabis Lounge is pretty famous here. It's, I think, one of the first public medical marijuana outlets in the nation.
The one in the video, Stompers or something it was called. Okay, just to get a little bit on the one more question on the personal end part about it is, we're located near Canada's largest military base. Did you ever spend any time in the military?
I did. I probably served in the United States Army, infantry soldier. They called us bullet catchers because we were the guys on the ground first to be out there and deployed. So we had nothing to protect us but our body armor, whereas other members of the military were oftentimes firing bombs miles back behind us where they were way out of range of being shot at. So, wow. Yeah, and I served as a Pershing missile guard in Germany during a time when it was pretty peaceful. Yeah. So I got to enjoy the German economy and travel a lot on the American dollar, and the American dollar was strong at the time, so I had a chance to make a lot of friends in Europe and see wonderful places.
Nice. That's good. Okay, can you tell us a bit about Time for Hemp, such as how old it is, how you got started?
Well, I was working with Jack Hare. Jack Hare had hired me in 1990 to take over the mess his office was in. Jack was so busy getting his book organized that he was getting so many calls in to do public speaking and to do tours, he didn't have time to answer back. He was getting so many orders for his books and his T-shirts, he didn't have time to stay on top of it. There was just not enough Jack Hare to go around, and his office was getting behind and in disarray. And he hired me. I was very lucky. He hired me to be the one to come in and clean up the mess and get it running. And he liked the way I did it as well, that he kept me around. And during the time that I worked for him, he and a handful of other members of the marijuana movement that were very active at the time, Chris Conrad, Mickey Norris, Dr. Todd McArea, Dennis Perrone, and a handful of other wonderful people were trying to make new laws in California, one of which being medical marijuana available to people who need it. And they did the California Hemp Initiative. And they were having problems finding a way to get their message out because they were competing with the Partnership for Drug-Free America, who had a huge financial treasure chest by advertising time and tried to defeat their efforts in California. So I suggested that we use community cable access and put together a little TV show that once it's released into public domain, anybody, including those people who are trying to make this California Hemp Initiative a reality, can take sound bites or video segments from it and use it in their advertising. So Jack said, good idea, get your butt down to the studio and sign up, and that's what I did. As I stand up, I think, what am I going to call this? What am I going to call this? I didn't have time to think of anything real. And the guy behind the counter said, next, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to do a TV show for the Health and Marijuana Prohibition Organization. He said, okay, that's hemp, right? I went, yeah. He goes, all right, so what's the name of your show? And I went, Time4Hemp, with the number 4. And he went, with the number 4? I went, yeah, like UB40 or U2, because they were just popular at the time. And he went, that's stupid. Nobody's going to remember that. You mean you want Time FOR Hemp? And I went, no, I want the number 4. He goes, well, it's your show, whatever. And so I got studio time, and I was lucky because we were there in Hollywood, and the people who donated their time to our community cable access network were people who spent their daytime on the clock working on programs like Dallas or Little House on the Prairie or all the popular TV shows and movies in Hollywood. And so when they donated their time to our community cable access, we had basically professional lights and professional sound people. We had great sets and we had great camera angles, and just by happen chance, we had a fantastic production team, and we put together a great little series. And there was a lot of people who heard that I was doing the little Time4Hemp series. I was working at Jack's office, and Jack Hare had a lot of people paying attention to his work. And therefore, when I answered the phone, they paid attention to what I was doing. Right. And because of that, a handful of activists wanted to have a segment of Time4Hemp to also air in their community cable access networks. And because of all those people's hard work and efforts to get the message out in their neck of the woods, Time4Hemp became the very first community cable access show to ever debut in 19 states and 21 cities simultaneously.
Really? Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So, like, were you the first international cannabis show?
We were. We were the first community cable access show to go national. We were the first community cable access show to go international. People like Chris Bennett.
Where's Chris live? Where did Chris live?
Chris was up in Canada. I think he was working with some guy by the name of Emery. Mark Emery, you might have heard of him, and his wife, Judy. Judy Emery, is that her name?
Jody, yeah.
Jody, that's it, Jody Emery. And he'll tell you that when he phoned to place an order for a case of Jack Hare's Emperor Wears No Clothes, I was the clown that answered the phone. I was the person he spoke with, and I was the person who shipped his books to him and Chris Bennett. So I'm the one who shipped Mark Emery his very first copy of Jack Hare's Emperor Wears No Clothes.
Nice. Yeah.
And according to High Times magazine, they did some research on other people who've looked into the history of Hollywood and the history of broadcasting. Time4Hemp, by happen chance, just by accident, was the very first television series in history of broadcasting to focus on marijuana as a primary topic in a positive light. And so I became the father of marijuana TV, just by accident.
Now, I think there was something you had mentioned to me before about how some of this ended up on TV. Weren't you involved in some government program?
Yeah, doing what I'm doing now. Jack had been involved in Dr. Taskin's smoked marijuana study at UCLA.
That would be that one that involved hundreds of people, right?
Oh, heavens, yeah. And I managed to get Dr. Timothy Leary arranged as a guest to be on my show. And I wanted something special to use as a roll-in. So when I was in between segments on the air, I had something really, dead on to share with the public and Dr. Tim. And so I asked Jack to help me get involved with the smoke marijuana study at UCLA by Dr. Taskin. And Taskin called me, rang me up, and first he said, no, there could be no cameras. And I said, well, then there's no point in me coming out. And he said, well, it's a government study, and they've never, ever allowed cameras. And I said, well, can you see if we can find a way to override that? And about 6 weeks went by, and I got a phone call from Dr. Taskin again. He said he got special permission to allow one camera each time that I came in, but I had to participate fully in the study, and I could only and the only face that I could film besides mine was his. I couldn't show any faces of any of the staff members. I could show what they were doing and how we were handling it. And so I also became the very first person to be filmed at a smoke marijuana study funded by the United States government while participating in the study. And I had to go in once a week for 3 weeks and blindly pull out a canister, a joint. And one joint was just, and one was, and one was just nothing. It was just total placebo. And then they would test my lung elasticity and my eye-hand coordination, my white blood cell count. So they kept a catheter in my arm the whole time to take my blood. They checked my ability to move, to retain short-term memory from reading. And we would do the same test, with different materials. Shut up, Jada. 3 times. Each time I would smoke one of their little cigarettes to compare the studies, and that's basically what it was. And I also got a free lunch, so I had the munchies, and a place to park, and $35.
Oh, they even paid you to do the study.
Yeah. And
oh, nice.
The day that the camera man showed up with me, the first time, was I got the killer shit. He didn't have to come back the last 2 times. Well, I was lucky. I got the killer shit on the first time in.
All right.
What? Oh, my God. Yeah. And you can find it on YouTube, me participating in the marijuana study. Yeah.
So it's available on YouTube. Now, is there a link at your website as well with that?
Exactly. At Casperhemp.com. Am I babbling too much?
No. On
my radio show, I don't talk very much.
Yeah, I know that. Okay, talking about your radio show, got any idea how many people listen to your show?
The studio says over 1.5 million people tune in every day to take Time for Hemp. And then we got a large archive where people show up and download past segments. And so forever now forward, the knowledge base gets stronger and stronger each and every day. So
yeah,
I have been blessed. I don't usually do one of these because I think it's rude and arrogant, but I've had people write me from Oregon and from Washington and Colorado and various other places where laws have changed and told me that their ability to present segments of Time for Hemp to members of their community has helped to change minds, sway voters, and change laws. And I can only attribute that to the fantastic guests that I have, because as I just said earlier, on my program, you don't hear me talk very much.
No, your guests or your joint hosts will do that, don't they? So whereabouts are these? Whereabouts you got 1.5 million people that listen to your program.
All around
the world.
And across America on AM and FM stations, people can pick up the live stream and broadcast it in their neck of the woods. There's people got these ham radios too, these little shortwave radios in the community, and they download the stream straight in. And then American Freedom Radio is also on Roku or Roku. I think it's called Roku, which is a little video box that people can attach to their TV sets for a couple of bucks a month and get all the streaming from the internet on their TV set. And American Freedom Radio streams through there as well. And then we're also on the internet globally. And then I know that I get letters from people who said they've heard the show in coffee houses, or they've heard it in smoking bars or little smoking outlets or head shops. So it's really a low estimate, 1.5 million people, but we figure at least that.
Yeah. I see your camera's moving in on you again. William says it looks like you're trying to drive there. So your live radio program, which is on Monday to Friday. Do you have like each day of the week? Is there? Now we're really close. Does each day of the week have a different theme?
I'm turning my speakers down so you don't get any feedback. I didn't know if you were.
No feedback here. We're good.
Oh, that's cool. All right.
Yep. No, we're good. I was just wondering, like, your show from Monday to Friday. Do you have different, like, Monday, Medical Mondays, for example, Token Tuesdays, Weedy Wednesdays, or anything like that?
Got cotton mouth. Just a minute. Have a token of smile.
I don't know. I doubt it. I was asking if you got royalties for that.
Yeah, I didn't do that at first, and I really wasn't keen on the idea. Hold on for a minute. JF, stop that. I wasn't keen on the idea on doing themes at first. A member of my audience, a lady by the name of J. Nair Hardin, Hardin, kind of pushed me into doing it. She first encouraged me to do the thing on like industrial hemp, where every Friday we would do for 8 weeks a presentation on all the great products that marijuana could make. And just that. Jada, stop it. And so I decided to try that, and people liked it. And it also seemed to make it easier to book a guest in my brain.
Right.
So then a friend of mine, you may have heard of him from Riverside, had a problem with the IRS here.
Yes.
And, okay, and we wanted to do something on what a bunch of ass clowns they are. Oh, I don't want to say that out loud. I might hurt their feelings. About a bunch of shitheads they are. And
it's YouTube doesn't censor me.
Well, you know, I love the people there, and I want them to feel the warmth.
Yes.
So I did one on the economic impact of hemp, you know, in a community, just to demonstrate the amount of taxes that they were generating there, his little multi-million-dollar medical marijuana outlet. And so then we had a new year, and I was like, well, I wanted to put a spotlight on Mary Lynn Mathery and their hard work. So I thought, okay, here's the deal. Why don't we give it a shot, see how my audience likes it? And we tried it, and the audience I liked it, and it worked. So
yeah,
it's kind of extended. So yeah, every Monday we have medical Mondays, healthy Mondays, focusing on how medical marijuana can be of benefit to you as a human being, or to your spirit, or even to your community in some ways. Just like keeping you healthy, you don't go out and kill people.
So is Mary Lynn on the show every Monday? She brings on a medical guest, or?
She or Al, yes, they do. They book the guests, the people who are involved in their organization, their doctors, their researchers, their patients, and that way we get an amazing amount of information that is actually very smart and very well grounded in good study and good research, and can't be disputed. So
just out of curiosity, do you know her website address?
No, off the top of my head.
Yeah. Okay, I just thought I'd ask.
I can get it real fast.
Okay.
Get it real fast. Hold on.
Okay. All right.
Because it's in the emails that I put out every Monday. And if she's not on, then Al's on.
Then Al's on. And they'll have a doctor or a patient or a researcher or something that they'll bring on.
Exactly. And we had this one guy, you might have heard of him. Let's see. He played hockey. Do you guys like hockey in Canada? You ever hear this?
Yeah, we got.
I didn't know.
We haven't heard about it much this year, I can tell you.
Okay. Well, let's see. Let me see what his name is.
Oh, Chris?
His name was Riley Coyote.
No, Wile E. Coyote, just character on cartoons with Bugs Bunny.
Let's see. Wait a minute. He is the Seahawks. Whatever. Hold on. Oh, I know how to. Just a minute. He's the T.I.M.E. He's on my website. We find it faster than anywhere else. Live. And I'll send you a link so you can listen to the little interview. If you guys happen to like hockey, you'll like this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, well.
But some people don't like hockey because they find it too, violent and too offensive.
Right. Yeah.
Riley Coyote. Oh, that's his name. See, he is a patient, and he is the assistant coach with the Android DAC Phantoms.
Oh, that must be a farm team or something. That's not NHL.
He played up there in
Oh, he may have, yeah.
He played up there in Canada, pretty famous up there.
Yeah.
There's a link for it.
Okay, yeah, I see. Yeah, Riley Cote. Yeah, that was his name. Yeah.
Do you know him?
No, I don't, but I see the link right there. So
all right.
I can read the name.
Let me give you their address. Their little link. Hold on.
Yeah, the reason I was asking for that is so that other people can go take a look at it, and we had a bit of a question from earlier in the night that I was wondering about. So
there you go. I got it. Copy and paste.
Medicalcannabis.com.
That's it.
Patients Out of Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't we remember it? Because it's not the name of their organization like most organizations have. Because somebody else had already gotten that.
Correct.
And because I have to think.
Yeah, I was talking to one of the people that are here now. They brought me in some information, and I was just wanting to confirm what their what Patients Out of Time address was. So.
Okay.
Okay, now back to your program. You mentioned about a few different speakers you spoke to.
So
is there any?
Every Monday we got Medical Mondays.
Yeah.
And every Tuesday we got Canada Tuesdays. Canada Tuesdays. Isn't that how you guys say it?
Right. Canada. Yes. Right.
You guys talk funny up there.
Yeah. So
Canada.
Tuesday spotlight on Canada with Kelly, right?
Got KDK Distributors with Kelly Kristen. They're an amazing team of people. We love them. Their support is just fantastic. And if not been for KDK, there's a lot of people in the movement who would not be heard. So they are an amazing team of people. Wednesdays is Leaf Day, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. And the joint host is one of the co-founders of Leaf, Peter Christ, one of the originating founding fathers of that organization. And then every Thursday, Paul Stanford comes onto the show, and we talk about what's going on here in America. Yeah. We all stay down here in Kentucky. And then on Fridays, we do Small Town Fridays right now with Michael Crowitz. Michael's been with the Veterans Administration, and he helped veterans in our country get their medical marijuana without losing their veterans benefits. There was a time that if you were receiving medical care from the Veterans Administration and you tested positive for the use of marijuana, you lost all your veterans benefits, and they just stopped paying for everything right there. They didn't care how sick you were.
Wow.
And even if your doctor said you needed medical marijuana because of cancer or pain or some god-awful little problem like that.
Yeah.
And Michael managed to get that changed. And that also caused the federal government to have to deal with a whole new can of worms because the federal government was allowing veterans to get their medical marijuana through federally funded organizations of the Veterans Administration. That made it hard for the federal government to come out with a federal statement saying that there is no benefits to having medical marijuana rescheduled. And they then basically we're lying.
Other than your TV, not TV, but your radio show that you're doing every day. Do you put out other stuff, like you mentioned about podcasts?
I do, but I'm sorry. Michael's work is amazing, so I want to make sure you don't.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Michael's work is amazing.
I've heard him on your show. I've heard him talk on your program, and actually he was up to the expo one year too, up to the Treating Expo. Yeah, he spoke. He spoke up
Every
there.
Tuesday, I am the joint host of Paul Stanford's Cannabis Common Sense, and you can find out more about it by going to hemp.org. And it also broadcasts through ustream.
Yeah.
And also got a YouTube channel, like I do. They got a YouTube channel on YouTube.com.
Yeah.
And, because of that, every Friday night, we know from the counts on Ustream, there's like about 80 or 90,000 people that listen around the world to it every Friday night live.
It's Friday night, yeah.
And 8 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard, which is 11 to midnight Eastern.
11 o'clock here, we can catch it on Ustream.
Yeah,
and
if you
do,
like I said,
Paul,
YouTube.
and that's an actual video, right? That's not a radio show.
Yeah, well, that's actual high definition TV, and it also broadcasts live into the television homes if anybody's got community cable. Anybody's got cable in the Portland area. And then they also burn off a copy onto disc and send it out to 17 other cable access stations in the United States. And because of it, Cannabis Common Sense is one of the largest seen cable network television shows in America.
Nice.
I had to say that just right without stumbling.
So, yeah, lots of people are being reached.
So a lot of people see me act a clown.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, does anybody have any questions before I go on to the next one? Okay, good. All right. Let's see. I was checking out some stuff on your site today. I posted a few things on my wall. One of them happened to do with your work at Seattle Hemp Stock. You're playing the role of looks like a roving interviewer. Is that something that you might interest you to do further down the road or anything?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I'm one of those people that I don't go someplace unless I got a reason to be there.
Yeah.
And so everybody wanted me to go to the hemp stock, and it was like, well, why? Because I don't like crowds, and I figure on my show, again, I don't talk a lot on my show. I put the spotlight on my joint host and my guest. And when I have somebody on my show, I have on my show people who I call experts and who have written books and who have done movies and have done research and who got PhDs and have done scientific studies. So there's if you say to me you want me to show up to your event and speak, my question to you is about what?
Right. That's right.
But doing a show? Well, I can tell you how to do a radio show in about 5 minutes, and you can Google that information on your own.
Right.
So, I'm not an expert. I've always been baffled.
Here.
Yeah, so I've always been baffled. What the hell would I have to say? If you want to talk about industrial hemp, get somebody like Gabe Galbraith, who's no longer with us, but or get somebody who wrote a book on it here recently. You want to talk about medical marijuana, get Elmi Maseki, or get the Dr. So-and-so. You want to talk about hemp farming, get somebody out of Canada who's involved up there. Don't talk to me. I'm just some kind of little journalist.
You're just yeah. You're helping spread the word.
That's it. That's all I do. I'm just a little conduit.
So
I'm not the message. I'm the messenger. And so I couldn't figure out what. So they said, well, okay, why don't we just have you go around and interview some of the people that you know? And so when I went to the Seattle Hemp Fest, I had forgotten that a lot of people knew me. Because when I did the show, it's just me and my little Livio. I don't see people that, it doesn't register.
Right. Yep.
Oh, I was lucky, and there was Mark Emery's wife. What's her name? Judy?
Jody.
Jody. And then there was like Keith Stroop or Strop or whatever his name is. And some guy named Judge Gray. That's his name. as like Ed Rosenthal, and it's like all of a sudden it dawned on me, I know like all the founders of the marijuana movement because I happen to be one, and it's just like a light came on. So,
Oh.
right, I'm serious. You know, it
Yeah.
doesn't register because you know when you're busy doing your thing, time goes by and it's just you and your dogs in your living room. It doesn't really register sometimes as to an impact that you're having, or the people that you're reaching, or the stature of the people that you know too. Because I've known Keith for so long, or I've known Jody for so long. I known them before they were even getting press coverage. I knew them before they even had founding for half their damn chapters, or whoever it was even got their book written, or whoever it was ever got their movie out. Right. So to me, there's another soldier in the foxhole. They're just some other old geezer that I happen to know who's been busy on a project that got some attention. And we're all fighting to do the same thing. And
Yes, we are.
On drugs. And we're all just soldiers together.
Yes,
and
we are.
I did that. And so when I showed up, I got to do a lot of great interviews, and I actually, by half a chance, ended up being this little roving reporter, just because that was the only way. I mean, because otherwise I wasn't going to go, because if you don't have a reason for me to be there, then I got things to do. I got laundry to do. I got shopping. I got walk my dogs. I got a website to update. I've got 3 files to edit, 2 shows to book. I'm busy.
Yeah, I know what you mean about being busy. Are you involved in the social media any way, like on Twitter or anything like that?
By accident, I attached my Twitter account to my Facebook group account, so that every time I'd make a posting on my Facebook group, it would automatically post onto Twitter. And I'm a little serious in nature. When Facebook said that we had to take the timeline and use that as our profile, I felt it was a complete forced invasion into my privacy. So I immediately took everything off of Facebook that was personal. Everything. Real date of birth, real name, real phone number, real ad, anything. And where I'd been. And I just came up with being Casper Leitch, just 2 years old, gave me a new date of birth, and gave me no trace of life, and turned it into an electronic magazine. And decided to use the Facebook profile as a way of helping to educate about the need to end prohibition and change these laws. And so by half a chance, the things that I post through now Facebook onto my group page has caught the attention of those around me. And I've got nearly 6,000 people that follow me on Twitter.
That's it, see? A little accident, eh? All of a sudden you got all these thousands of people following you.
Well, about 6,000. And I've got about 5,000 friends on Facebook, and 1.5 million people that are tuning into my little radio show around the world.
Yeah.
I guess I'm being heard, or my guests are being heard. I'm not being heard. I don't usually talk this much.
No, I know. Okay, well, let's just switch gears a little bit over to. You want to talk a little bit about what just happened down there in the U.S. with the elections in November with the initiatives?
Well, the first thing we got to know about the presidential election is it was just god-awful. Someone won.
Yeah, someone has to win, yeah. But,
and someone did.
Yeah. No.
I keep hoping that no one will show up and no one will vote, and then they'll go, now what?
What do you do? Yeah.
No one won.
No one won. None of the above. So
someone won, and it was Wall Street. So Wall Street won, and so we're still bought and paid for, and we still have the best Congress that money can buy. Don't you ever forget that.
Yeah, a lot of money.
And we still had the best.
You're seeing that up here. You guys, they're down there spending $1 billion for each candidate.
Yeah. Not that I'm a bitter Betty.
Yeah. What about the initiatives? You got any thoughts or anything you want to comment about them with Washington, Colorado, and?
I think it's amazing. It's going to be interesting to watch. I know that I had hoped that it would also have happened in Oregon, but it didn't. But one of the nice things about that is we've already got medical marijuana here in Oregon, so we didn't lose anything. We just
Right.
didn't gain industrial hemp. But it also, we do have industrial hemp now in Colorado, and that's being written into their constitution, so the
Right.
federal can't do anything but just come in and go, oh shit, too bad, we can't do nothing now. And the way Washington's got it written, the governors even called up the president and said, what are you gonna do? This is what we've done.
This is what the people want. The people have spoken.
What had happened is that many of the prosecuting attorneys in both states just dropped cases and aren't moving forward on prosecuting people, and the federal government is basically packing up shop and going away and putting their efforts into other things in other states, because they've made it clear in these states that there'll be no local effort and arrest. There'll be no local assisting and prosecuting. There'll be, if anything's done, it will all be done by a federal arm, and the federal government lacks the resources. They don't have the money to go in and arrest thousands and thousands of people growing and thousands of people buying it. And then these states are also saying, look at the revenue we're going to be generating in taxes. And we need these revenues to pay for street repairs and to pay for education for kids. And we can't be running around and spending our state dollars on arresting people for a damn plant and putting them in jail for a damn plant, when that damn plant can be giving us a revenue. So good luck with that.
That's right.
So, yeah, they're having a real frustration with that, and they're looking sillier and sillier on the federal level. But if they're going to do anything, they're going to do it before Oregon gets to bat the next time to make it legal like that here. And so that way we'll already know what their last-ditch effort's going to be before we move forward in our state again. Because now the federal government's going to have to come out and finally show everybody how big the weapon is, what it is that they're going to use, if it's going to be the IRS, are they going to come out and say you can't deduct these because it's a legal business and it's an illegal commerce, so you can't deduct any taxes off it? Or is it going to be the federal boys arresting? Is it going to be unannounced middle-of-the-night raids by the DEA? What are they going to do exactly? And so by the time we get to bat again, whatever it is they were going to do, they will have done it, and those states will have then turned around and filed lawsuits against those federal agencies and challenged them back. They'll already be going on, and those people here in Oregon won't have to be in that mess.
Yeah.
We can learn from it and stand back and go, oh, all right, now that they fought that, this is what we're going to do this time around. We've already got medical marijuana. We're going to do industrial hemp this way because the federal boys are fighting like that, and this is how we're going to do it. So, in a way, it was good for us.
Yeah. So, will there be a domino effect from this possibility? Because we're seeing a little bit of stuff in the news as far as maybe, Mexico. There was some talk about some other U.S. states that may come in with the same type of ballot.
Well, see, the problem with that is there's only a handful of states in America that can change laws at the voting booth. The rest of the states have to change laws with their body of legislators and their body of Senate within the confines of their own municipal governments. So in California, you can get 1,000 voters to say, yes, we want medical marijuana. Then the lawmakers have to follow what the voters say. In a state like Indiana, you vote into office someone who you believe is going to support your cause, because that person is the person who will go into the state body of legislature in Indiana and propose a bill to either allow industrial hemp for farmers to use, or will propose a bill to ban industrial hemp, never allowing it to be used. And then whatever that body votes on is how that state is ran.
Right.
So there is only a handful of states that can say, fuck you to the federal government. The other ones have to get the right politicians in. Now, there seems to be in those states politicians who are waking up, like in Alabama, who are now filing those bills,
Yeah.
and in some of the other states, because they're recognizing that we are making money off of medical marijuana industry. We are going to be making money off of the tax revenue now of recreational marijuana in Washington and in Colorado. And these states are suffering economically. They are strapped by huge bills and huge debt that they can't get out from underneath. And if your own state can't pay the bill, then you have a real problem. And there are businesses who the state will go into and say, we want to buy this from you and buy that from you, and then stiff the business, and then tell that business you'll get paid like next year, the year after, we're so far behind. They have to put up with it.
Yeah.
The mess. Anyway, so these states that need that revenue and see the revenue being generated in the states that have voted it into law, their legislative bodies are moving forward and trying to change those laws as well. So I think ultimately, yes, but it's going to take a lot longer in those states. But in the states where voters can make the change, it's going to be huge, and it's going to be a huge success, and it's going to be such a way that the federal government can't do anything but go, oh, shit. And, yeah, there are other governments now around the world who are saying to us, we need to end the war on drugs. It's enough what you're doing, and it's making it hard in our countries, like in Mexico. Our laws are creating deaths because of the greed and the insane turf wars that are going on just over this plant. And it's impossible to enforce law, even though you arrest a bazillion people every year for smoking it, transporting it. You only touched 1/10 of the number of people who are actually smoking it and transporting it.
Yeah, that's correct. Now, what I'm also wondering about, I've recently found out a bit about the way alcohol prohibition ended there. I always thought that down in the U.S. it ended because the federal government ended it, but I've just been recently told that it was actually like 10 or 12 states went against the federal government, and they legalized it, and then once they did it, the domino effect kicked in. And is there a chance of that ever happening this way?
Well, yeah, because as an example, we did not legalize recreational use of marijuana in our state here in Oregon.
Right.
All right, we tried that,
Yeah.
but Washington did. So when they finally started having sales of recreational marijuana in the state of Oregon, in Washington, you can bet a lot of people from Oregon are going to be driving into the state of Washington.
Oh,
and there's going to be people from Iowa and North Dakota and Indiana where it's not legal.
They're even worried about them coming down from Canada.
But it's not so much worried about. It's going to become a vacation spot like it was in Amsterdam. It's going to generate a huge income base for those states. And those states are going to really benefit from it because they're going to be having a lot of people coming to their place to vacation that would not otherwise come to their state to vacation. And so, no, it's going to be a great thing. And it makes it far more difficult. If you're the federal government and you say, our federal law for all 50 states is that marijuana is outlawed, and you got 17 states that say, well, all right, that's your belief, but if you come into our state troopers are not going to help you with the arrest. They're going to just stand back and watch. Yeah. We're not going to give you any names. We're not going to give you any information. We're not going to give you any tips or leads. We're busy arresting people who are bank robbers and who are beating their spouses. And I find for your nonsense. And their judges say, if you bring them into our dockets, they will be the last on the docket. We have so many other cases from the city and from the state that we have to focus on. And before we get to your federal case, we got to cover these cases first, so it gets lost in there. So it makes it so that the federal government doesn't have any real oomph in 17 states. So that's over half the nation. Over half the nation is now telling your office and your organization, you're silly, you're not ethical, and we're not abiding by anything that you're doing. And if you want to enforce that nonsense, you have to underwrite the cost of doing that. Send in your own agents, send in your own judges, produce your own courts, and produce your own bills, and do it. Because we're not. We're done with it.
That's
Then
what I
the
was going
other
to
states
ask
go,
you. Was like here we have our like in a drug charge, it's a federal offense. So we go to a court. And there's a federal prosecutor there. So basically, down there, now that the states aren't going to prosecute, they have to fund the whole process from beginning to end.
to the federal program. So
Yeah.
that means they have no judges now to assist all those thousands of people that they're arresting or were trying to arrest. And they don't have all those enforcement officers at their beck and call to go in and make those busts. Now they're down to about 200 people. And then on top of that, if you've got half the nation saying we're not going to abide by that, the other half of the nation doesn't understand why they have to.
Exactly. Yeah. Why would we? We're being forced to. We're being
Right.
penalized, and the other half of the country isn't being penalized.
Yes. This is nonsense. And that half of the country will take their vacations. And the half of the country that has the liberal laws and has the legal marijuana and has the recreational marijuana, and those dollars will go out of those states.
Yeah.
And businesses will set up businesses in the states where they have liberal laws for medical marijuana and recreational marijuana. They can have more workers. There are more people to pick from.
Yeah.
And it's less of a hassle. So those dollars go out of the states as well. And so the coffers of the state budget begin to suffer, and the state lawmakers begin to scratch their head and go, this is stupid.
A fellow here, Wayne, he just mentioned to me that, how many people are going to move, and not just go visit, will they actually uproot their families and move to those states?
Exactly.
Yeah. Anybody else got any questions?
Example, the marijuana movement here moved me. They wanted to make sure. I was in Indiana where if you had more than an ounce of pot and they caught you the first time, it could be just probation. Second time, mandatory 1 to 3 years. It just gets worse. And here in Portland, with a medical marijuana card, I can have 24 ounces of marijuana in my house and 24 plants growing and have no problem. So to protect the show, to protect me as an activist, the marijuana movement in Portland, Oregon, literally the people who are involved in the movement put their dollars together and paid the U-Haul, first month rent, deposit to move me and my dogs here to keep us safe.
That's good of them. Well, Casper, we're getting pretty close to our time here. We should probably wrap things up a bit. Is there anything you'd like to touch on offhand? If not, let us know where we can find you online and podcasts and all that stuff.
Well, I did say I started a new show called Time for Pets, and I got a new website, time-for-pets. And we're also in iTunes. You can find Time for Pets broadcast in iTunes. And it broadcasts on AmericanFreedomRadio.com and AM/FM stations all across America right after my show on Tuesday. So every Tuesday from 11 to 1 Pacific Standard Time, you can listen to Time for Pets. And it's a way of getting involved in helping the animal world be cared for and loved more, and letting people who do care for the animal world know better ways to make that happen. So, yeah, go there. And if you also, while you're in iTunes, if you Google into the search engine and Time for Hemp with the number 4, all 4 of our podcasts pop up. We got Time for Hemp Today, which is a little bit of music and a whole lot of talking. And then we have the Time for Hemp Music Podcast, which is a whole lot of rocking and very little talking. And we have the Time for Hemp Classic Podcast, which is people like who've been on the show and are no longer with us, like Michelle Rainey or Jack Hare or Gateway Galbraith or other segments that were very valuable that I want to make sure my audience not missed, with Eddie Leff or Mark Emery, who are not free to get out and speak on their behalf. And, of course, we have the live broadcast, Time for Hemp, Monday through Fridays on AmericanFreedomRadio.com from 10 to 11 a.m. Pacific. And
catch you on Cannabis Common Sense.
And every Friday night as well, doing a live show. So I'm a little busy trying to get the word out about how to be a better place.
Sure you are. Okay, Casper, at this moment I'd like to say thank you for taking part to help educate everybody about Time for Hemp and what you're doing to help legalize cannabis around the world. I'd also like to thank the owners here at the studio, Patricia and Stuart, for allowing us to do this. And I'd like to thank everybody who's present here today. and for those who are watching on YouTube for participating and for being people advocating cannabis education. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.